both of us have several things to do tonight, so we're going to be back and forth between what's going on. I've got some plug work to do. He's got some drill work to do. So like I said, we'll be kind of bouncing back and forth and showing different things off. I got a buddy that has a Marvel S that the bridge started cracking on, and he wanted me to fix it. So I'm going to cut the plug down. I'll have it resurfaced, and we'll see what this looks like. I think I got it pretty close. So I'm going to cut it and finish it and disappoint myself.
That's just unlucky.
But I've also got some stuff that's getting rehomed, and I got some other stuff for some friends that need fixing up. So,
yep. And then I've got what, 4 balls that I'm working on today. So I've got this is my T-zone that I drilled a month and a half, 2 months ago, something like that, before Swiss. And I had goofed up when I drilled it. The hole that I put my Jopo sleeve in was just a little bit too big, and so the sleeve popped out when I shot a 10 pin in the middle of the league. So this is finally, Luke ended up having to drill out the entire hole plus a little bit because there's a little moon cracking around it. So finally getting the plastic ball I want to be throwing back working again, which feels good. Should I keep them in suspense, or should I just tell them what the mystery ball that I'm drilling?
Oh, let's make them wait.
Okay, we'll make y'all wait. But there is a that is going to get drilled. Actually, no, there's 2 balls that are. One of them is somewhat known as cord. The other one's not. Suspense there, and then the final piece of the puzzle I'm working on is my pin down Venom Shock has actually kind of demonstrated some utility recently. I'm just going to be popping a Jopo sleeve in that. So a little bit of everything for both of us, but I think Luke's doing a little bit of plug cutting right now, and we'll be kind of alternating back and forth. My first priority for the night is I want to get my plastic ball right, so that's going to be my kind of first step. But yeah, that green is... It looks nice right now, but that means it's going to look terrible in 90 seconds.
It's going to be a little too dark.
Yeah.
But
is that just a function of the how do I say this? Is that just a function of the fact that it is shiny and not cut down and matte like the ball?
Yeah.
Or is that kind of tricky on how the color looks a little bit?
And I can tell if color matches, like right now, it's going to be too dark.
Okay.
It always finishes a shade or two too dark.
That's just how life works?
Yeah, it's going to be really close.
Okay.
And I don't have anything to check comments on yet, so I will get that out here in a minute as soon as I get this thing on the resurfacing machine. I hate doing the finger cuts because the stuff always goes everywhere.
Yeah.
So the top of the ball, or the bridge crack was pretty bad, and so the top of the ball, I think, had swollen right there, and so I can tell that because the plug cutter is perfectly round, but
Oh, wow.
I had to really get into the ball, and the sides.
You can see it shaving down right there.
Yeah, and the sides of the plug are not all the way shaved down.
Yeah.
So I had to get into the ball some to get those closer.
So
But
is the house machine or the surface machine downstairs is going to help?
that'll help round it out. But I did need to get into the ball just
Okay.
a little bit to knock it down.
Okay. And also, one thing that I'm kind of calling an audible on is I'm actually popping some fresh grips into my plastic ball, which this is serving kind of two birds with one stone, because when I measure my cut to cut, I do it without grips in the ball. And so I know what that number is because when I drill fingers first and then drill the thumb. So this makes it so I don't have to actually fake anything. But yeah, no, I mean the thumb plug looks pretty fantastic, and I'm just gonna all get drilled out.
Yeah, I didn't have sparkles.
But
yeah,
wait, whoa. You didn't have sparkles.
didn't have sparkles.
But otherwise, that is
that's
really good color match.
So yeah, that's where the thumb is, and even without the sparkles, it's.
And I mean, 99% of that is just going to get drilled right back out, and nobody's ever going to know. So yeah, I just decided to pop the grips out. They were feeling a little bit worn out, anyways. So yeah. So there's that. Hi, Storm. Do you want to get down, buddy?
Little.
You say get down, buddy.
For this. First thing I want to do is get this adhesive off.
While you do that, I'm going to work on my plastic ball. Also, loud noises.
Actually, that's really close.
Wow, yeah, that is really
actually
good.
surprisingly close.
Task failed successfully.
Yeah.
So
It's still going to be a little dark and maybe a little not quite opaque enough.
yeah, you'll be okay.
But yes, I'm using some nail polish remover to get that worked. Shut up. Nobody cares about you.
You say what, Storm? You say boof?
You said a woof?
You say boof. So what I'm doing is I'm just using the drill press as essentially my workbench. I'm redrawing the lines that I need to on my plastic ball, just to measure out spans and get everything lined up correctly before I pop a new sleeve in here. Also, is it bad that I was worried about the fashion statement of what color sleeves to put in the balls that I'm drilling tonight?
Yeah, no, but yes.
You know, you're a bowler when, ... Hi.
Hi, Buck. What are you talking about, sir? All right, so Pro Shop hack here. So you see all the grain on the top of the plug. If I put that on the resurfacer right now, I'm going to have to really just to get all that grain out, and that's just a natural result of cutting it. But if I just took it from that and stuck it on the resurfacing machine, I'd lose labels before I got that smooth. So
versus if you knife it, that essentially helps smooth out all the grain in the plugs. High Storm. Essentially all the
we got tricks.
Galaxy brain.
Yeah. All right. Dingo. No.
DINGO.
Woof. I know the woof. You got to leave us alone here for a minute. All right.
Go for it. think you did that.
So basically I was just doing a little bit of smoothing off there. The Dremel knocks it down fast, but then I'm going to use the...
Oh, wow. That's a lot different.
Yeah, it'll... The Dremel knocks it down fast, and I've got all the grain shaved down, but then the Dremel's a little hot and heavy, so I have to... So that's what we're looking at there. So I'll go on ahead and stick it on the resurfacing machine.
Nice.
And we'll turn it over to...
Yep. So as you can see on the press right now, I've essentially just drawn a center line and where the leading edge of my thumb is going to get cut. And so once all that's done, like almost all of that plug is going to be out essentially. And so I just had my bevel knife a second ago. Where the heck did I put it? Jeez, I'm losing my mind.
What?
No, I just had my bevel knife in my hand like 45 seconds ago.
Oh.
I set it down somewhere and I don't know where I put it.
Pretty sure that's one of mine, but
That's yours.
I don't know.
That is not mine. Mine was literally over here. Huh. Did I just put it in my toolbox or something?
I also have another one.
Oh, found it. We good.
We good. Around here too that I don't know what happened to.
All right. So essentially, this is one of my Joe Post sleeves, and so what I've done is I have a disc of what is this 120 grit sandpaper. And so I'm essentially taking what is originally a fairly smooth outside and just really scuffing it up, giving it, this is a similar concept to when you're doing ball plug. I'm trying to give it plenty of surface, texture, and, you know, essentially place for the glue to grab onto so that it adheres consistently inside of the ball once I actually drill the hole that this gets dropped in. So I'm actually, while Luke was doing that, I've already gotten 2 of my sleeves completely marked up. Actually, I'm going to give you all a little bit of a hint here. Oh, a slight hint. I do like to kind of make my slugs at least somewhat match the ball, or make the outer sleeves match the ball color-wise. So I've got a black sleeve. It's going in my T-zone because I don't have any blue or white sleeves. I think I'm going to be putting downside as I just dropped my sleeve. We got the purple sleeve. I was looking at it a minute ago. I think it actually looks pretty cool. So that is going to go in my Venom shock. And the two other ones, the two other sleeves, and these are for the mystery balls that y'all are going to have to just watch and see what they are. The two mystery balls are getting a red sleeve and an orange sleeve. And both of those are color coordinated with the balls that they are going in. How they are color coordinated, which ball they correspond to, you'll just have to watch and find out. But I figure, well, I'm just kind of sitting here talking for a minute. Just kind of get these knocked out at once. So this is a pretty fresh disc, so scuffing it up really nicely, which is very, very helpful. So I'm going both vertically and horizontally just to make sure it's got plenty of extra surface area to work with. And then I'll just do some kind of diagonal wax with a bevel knife. And I'll just kind of go both ways like this. Probably a little bit overkill, but overkill is underrated, and I'd really rather not have any more slugs pop out. So that's all done, and now you can see, hopefully you can see this okay, there's plenty of, try and get this in a way where you can see it see the light, is like there's plenty of surface texture on there and stuff for it to grab on. I think someone just asked.
Yeah.
Red one.
About vacuum grips too.
Oh yeah, vacuum. Someone asked about vacuum grips. Mm-hmm. Yes, Cole. I actually I've been using vacuum grips exclusively in my equipment for several years now. I really, really like it. So mine. It's probably not 100% standard. I have a. I'll take a 1 1/32 bit and go down 3/4 of an inch because I like mine to be a little bit looser on the top of the insert. So I'll go down for 3/4 of an inch and then follow that with a normal bit size to normal depth. And then I just had to go down a couple sizes on my grips when I did that. But yeah, I love vacuum grips. I do use black Turbo Quad Classics. But yeah, so I just pop those in there, black Turbo Quads and everything, and then vacuum grips on everything. And feels really, really consistent and doesn't rip up my fingers. So. Bonk, I'm going to take your questions in order. You asked about drilling a new spare. I'm pretty hard on my spare balls because of how hard I throw them, and also when I shoot spares, I track over the thumb a lot. So my spare ball that I'd had for the last 8 months was...
I would like anybody in the chat to take up an counter, please.
Crap. Dang it. I wasn't even paying attention. Oh, now I'm going to be so self-conscious the rest of the stream. So my track when I shoot spares essentially goes right over the thumb a lot of the time. And so I chunked up. My spare balls get chunked up, and my last spare ball has had a long and useful life, but it's also at the end of its life. And so that's why I drilled this new one. And here we are. And then... let's see, Kelly, orange venom recoil. No. I will. Red one is for the Black Widow 2.0. Also, no. No clears. Negative. I go through the clears too quick. Like they wear out really, really fast because they're so soft and gummy. The blacks are a nice compromise for me of holding up, but also feeling nice when I put my hand in the ball, essentially. New red swag ball, nailed it. Lol, Tobias, negative. Cobalt, normally for vacuums, do you go down a full inch with 1 1/32, or is it deeper? It's usually less than that. So a grip is 1.75, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you'll normally go down like half the grip at most. So I go down 3/4 of an inch past full.
Yeah, 3/4 is pretty standard.
Yeah, go down about 3/4 and then just follow with the normal bit size. So like go up 1/16 and then for the first 3/4 of an inch or so, which is actually a little deeper than a lot of people go on the large bit. Magic Drim goodness, I cannot talk. Fish in Northern Ohio. Magic Drim. Why can't I talk? Magic Gem getting drilled. No. No, I don't think Luke is drilling one, actually.
No.
And he already has an infused drilled. I think someone else asked about that in chat.
They sent them to me way too late. They got here like a couple days before release date, and then we had a tournament that weekend.
I was going to say it got there like 3 days before Tulsa, right?
And so yesterday would have been the first day that we could film, and now they already announced the journey, and videos for that can already go up, and so we just filmed yesterday, so I'm working on that stuff. So, I mean, the magic was going to be, they just didn't get it to me in time, so it's going to... Yeah.
So, I wasn't sure. I didn't want to say that, but okay, cool. Thank you.
Instead of making a video that nobody's going to want to watch 3 weeks after the ball releases, we're putting both the magics in the Doggo fundraiser that we're doing next month, be on December 9th. I'll have more information about that coming soon.
Yep. And if you want to know more and you want to be apprised of everything that happens, I just posted a link to Luke's Discord in the stream chat. So click over there, discord.gg/stormnation. Sweet. And you can join up. Got all kinds of stuff. Got some cool channels for the general population. But let's be real. If you want to be one of the cool kids, you got to join Patreon or YouTube memberships. And you get access to all kinds of awesomeness, and information for that is in the Discord.
I mean, we have a meme channel, so
yeah, that's
all you
pretty
need
fantastic.
to know. There's literally so many channels in there that we can't keep up.
There's enough.
I can't keep up anyway.
There's enough channels that I had to make a channel to list out all the channels.
Yeah,
that's essentially what it comes down to. But no, it's an awesome place to hang out. So, I had to build a spreadsheet for the permissions matrix. That was kind of fun. That was pretty well lined up.
I've got 5 balls to plug. I'm pitch plugging Angel's UFO alert, just because the finger holes get a little bit big. They just kind of wear.
Is this her Eternity?
Yeah, that's her Eternity. That's going to Patreon, and then this is my Marvel Max Force that's going to Angel.
Okay. Oh, that'll be a good ball for her.
And then I've got an Obsession Tour and a Black Widow 2.0 that a friend got and just needed them. I drove for a couple people, and so one of them got some balls to plug and re-drill. I need to go switch to the...
Brian Wolf, or Nico asked you, Luke, are you getting the IQ 78U, or do you have no purpose for it?
No, we're getting those eventually. They just don't come out until the middle of December, so.
Okay, so you'll have them at some point, just don't know when.
Yeah, normally we get them 5 weeks early, but they've been so jacked up with shipping that I have no idea when anything's coming anymore.
I'm not sure if they know when anything's coming anymore.
They really don't.
Okay, yeah. So Angel just said off mic that those are auto ship balls, so they will get them. It's just a question of when. Has James just cracked the server for comms? You mean hacked? If so, then yes. Brian, is a spare ball of the surprise ball being drilled? No, it is not. There's actually technically 2 surprise balls being drilled. Well, I haven't really announced publicly what they are yet, but both are from the Brunswick umbrella. One of them is current production, one is not. And both are asymmetrical. If you want to know more than that, stay tuned. Loud noises. Cool. So that is my pilot hole drilled for my thumb slug on the plastic ball. So that was, excuse me, that was piloting with a 1 3/8 bit, which I also is the, so my cut, when I measure my cut to cuts, that's from the inside of the thumb sleeve that I install. And so this essentially gives me one measurement to take, and then I make sure everything's lined up. And I'm already in the right spot to pilot it with the correct bit already installed. So it's just kind of one less step to worry about. So that is the wrong bit. Grab my turbo bit instead of my Jopo bit, which, I don't know, I need to actually make a video on this, but you can see they're both 1.5 inch bits. The Jopo bit is in my left hand, and that's just a little bit, it's set a little deeper on the stop collar. So that just, it's a slightly different.
Be the worst one.
Set ethos with how Jopo does their slugs, but it works very, very well as a system. So when I got the Jopo starter kit, it came with this bit, and it just made things so much simpler for converting everything over. Is it an OG mindset? No, Bonk, I already have one of those. Steve, yes, that is what we call a teaser. Kingpin rule? Which one was that?
I don't know. Some random nondescript Brunswick ball back when they sucked.
No comment. And voila, so that is now the outside part done. One thing you can see is I drill so the thumb hole that's drilled in the ball has 1/8 left and no forward reverse pitch. And so when I'm actually getting the hole prepped to put a sleeve inside of it, I'm really leaning on the stop collar once it's actually flush with the ball. So you can see this little mark right here, that little white spot, that's actually somewhat intentional. Like I'm looking for that when I drill a ball, or some little mark along those lines. That's kind of my indicator / confirmation that I did in fact properly bury the turbo bit, which essentially just guarantees or the Jopo bit I should say in this case, that I properly buried this sucker, which guarantees a very consistent ball-to-ball slug depth for the outer sleeve. So now I've got that all done, and then on the Jopo sleeves, I think you'll all be able to see this, that little seam right there. That essentially is the indexing point for the slugs. You want the seam facing directly away from the fingers. So even just sliding it in here, it's got a little bit of friction to it, but it goes in nice and smoothly. And then this is actually one really cool thing is the Jopo bits are indexed to where there's very little material you take off the top of it. So it's actually sits a little deeper in the ball than either Vice or Turbo slugs. So that's a fun little fact for you.
Yeah, turbos you got to cut like a 1/2 or 3/4 of an inch off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can even see just right here. That's probably a 1/4 inch difference at least, maybe 3/8, something like that. But it's a pretty substantial difference. I will say Jopo offers a deal. If you have a turbo bit, you can send it to them, and they will re-index that stop collar for you to their specifications. I want to say it's like 3.224 inches or something along those lines. They've got it listed in their like full specs. So you could technically DIY it at home if you really wanted to, but unless you're super experienced with that sort of thing, it's just better to have the pros do it. And Jopo's service is pretty fantastic. I enjoyed talking with them when I was looking at switching over. Kingpin rule is orange, white, maroon. Oh, so is the. It looks sort of like the candy corn ball, but it was like burgundy instead of black. Yeah, nondescript Brunswick ball. That sounds right.
Yeah.
No, it is not an Extreme Envy bonk, although that has been a ball that I have been eyeballing a little bit. One of them. Well, nah, y'all can keep guessing. I'm not gonna give more hints. Actually, no. I'll give one hint. One ball is 8K22. One ball is not. There's the glue going over your right shoulder. Quick. And there's two of us working in here. I try to make sure to communicate where I am and what I'm doing if I'm behind Lou. And ooh,
It's close.
that's actually really close.
The Eternity purple is well, basically everything in the Eternity is impossible to
That's
color
kind of
match.
that's the dirty silver from the Zen, right?
Yeah, it's just impossible to get there. And this stuff is,
So what is that? I'm assuming that has like
I'm close.
Green?
This has a drop of purple, 3 drops of magenta, probably 10 to 15 drops of silver, 3 drops of gold, 4 drops of red. I just put some pink in it, and it's got, I don't know, 6, 7 drops of white.
I'm genuinely surprised there's no green in there just for random reasons.
Yeah. Uh-huh. I do that just to throw Riley off. I just add a couple extra colors for no particular reason.
hide like a microliter of green in there just to troll Riley.
Yeah.
I made Bonk give up on the guessing. Let's go. I win. Victory by forfeit, I guess. Not sure if that counts, but I'm taking it. So, now that I have everything prepped, got the slug cutter bit, which I actually use to essentially seat the sleeve in the ball. I've got a handy dandy bottle of Turbo Slow Zip glue. Get a nice healthy amount of that all around. So that is done. Make sure my back seam is lined up correctly. I can kind of guide that with my hand edges, seating in to just kind of confirm that everything is in fact perfect. And that is about as good as you're going to get. Hang on it a second just to make sure it's completely in there. Now I'll probably give it 20 or 30 seconds to fill out a little bit more. And once that's done, then I can, it's actually a very, very simple process from here. So I just need to zero out the pitches, shave down the top of the slug, and then clean up that top edge. And then this needs new grips, so I'll need to pop those grips in there. And then we are good to go. I'm just over here in my toolbox, narrating my entire life, apparently. Actually, while we're waiting on that, I'm going to show the Joe Post system. And so the part of the system, I'll grab the orange slug so it'll be a little easier to see. Part of the system that I really like with this is it's got these 3 locking tabs and this entire like spiral cut system to hold it in place. And so like this notch on the inner matches with this notch on the outer, but it's a full 360-degree turn to get it locked into place. And so you can see there's this really robust locking mechanism on the bottom. It can only index one way because of how these notches are designed. One is thick and 2 are thin, and that matches up with what you can hopefully kind of see on the inside of the sleeve. So you just pop in like that and then spin it around and off you go. So like I have, this is not a hint for one of the balls that is being drilled, but this is one of my Black Widow 2.0s. So pop that in, full 360 turn, which is sort of like how Vice works, but then you can hear that really positive click. And it's done that consistently with every ball that I have this system in. And I've probably bowled 400 or 500 games since I installed Joe Pose, and it has been completely rock solid with the exception of that one sleeve flying out of my spare ball, which that was just completely user error. So that is my little infomercial for JoPo. I need to actually make a more complete video for my channel, kind of talking about the system and my experience with it so far. But it's been 13 out of 10 stars. So loud noises.
Need just a touch more purple.
Hi, Storm.
See there.
And I don't need to really show the rest of the finishing process. That's all I'm working on at this point, is just cleaning up the JoPo inner now that it is installed and cut down. Now that little bit of cleanup work is done, just a quick test to make sure the slug fits correctly. It does. Nice positive click, and it is flush with the ball. So that is a successful JoPo installation. So voila, you can see nothing sticking out of it. Mm-hmm. It's perfect. Mm-hmm. So I have a working spare ball again.
Kapow.
A bam. Or what does Emerald say? Bam!
Yeah.
There we go. Sorry, that was probably really loud.
All right. So I think that that's pretty close. The only thing is I don't have that. You can see that kind of bluish purple mica in the color. I don't have that, so I'm trying to hit that magenta, that silvery magenta, which I think I'm pretty well on top of. Aside from,
I never noticed that mica.
Yeah, it's got the intense fire effect to it.
Yeah.
The color is pretty close. So I'm just going to go on ahead and pour it because this is impossible to hit anyway. So this is just going to disappoint me no matter what I do. Because this ball is just impossible.
What's the scent on that disappointment and heartache?
I use the drill because it really reduces the friction on when you're mixing, And so if it's turning, plus I can get the sides really well. You see me go around the sides a couple times and really get the, if any color sinks or doesn't get mixed, I can pick that up off the bottom. But I can
Bonk asked me if I put reactive gloss on the spare ball.
Yeah.
I actually did ask Luke if he
Close.
had any reactive gloss sitting around.
Yep. That's
Contract soon at Jopo. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
we'll see. No, I used this stuff, step 3. So it's essentially a less gritty version of High Storm. That's a
There you
good.
go.
That's a good non-jumping buddy. That's a good buddy.
It's white.
So I took, after Luke
Not quite done.
plugged and cut it, I believe he hit it with 1,000 grit on the surface machine.
Yep.
And then I whacked it with a Warren 2000 pad, and then went about 15 sides or so of step 3 on top of that. Storm, stop jumping on me.
Bucko.
I know you want
doing,
attention. I'm
dingo?
giving you attention. I just don't want you to jump on me right now. Okay, Bucko? That's a good Bucko.
I can already tell it's a little dark, so I added just a little bit of white and silver to it to make it a little bit brighter.
Okay.
The problem with adding white is that it washes the color out.
So then you're messing with saturation at that point.
Yeah. So I can get it the right brightness, but on pearl colors it's easier because I can just add more silver. This one did need a little bit of white to flesh it out. Still needs just gotta be a little bit brighter.
Also, a weird issue I've been having recently is sometimes my inserts don't grab enough or don't adhere properly to the glue when I put them in the ball. So I've started just taking a little bit of rubbing alcohol or ball cleaner or something and just cleaning off the outside of each grip before I glue it.
Yeah.
It's probably me being a bit of a diva, but
No, I wipe mine off before I,
oh, okay. In that case,
because yeah, just in case there's
so we're
any-
both divas is what I'm getting out of this.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
just in case there's a little dust on the outside of the grip, and of course,
Yeah.
as you're buzzing finger holes out, and there's just you put the
There's
grip
so much
in and-
dust flying around it. If there's too much gets in there, then the glue's never going to bond properly, and I'd really rather not drill a ball and take it out to the lanes and have a grip go flying halfway down in my first shot. But apparently I need to hit it harder. Yeah. Sorry, I feel bad about that. Alright, those are my grips done. So I got all the grips that I need. Good. Oh, good. I did put
just
new grips
as
in my
good as
rim
that's
shot.
gonna get. So
That's helpful. So I've got my grips over here for the spare ball now. I'm kind of behind the camera at the moment, so I'm just kind of explaining what I'm doing.
yeah, I'll pour this and show
Oh,
everybody.
yeah. No, that's
how
all
bad
good.
This is.
Yeah.
Man, it's still just,
Watching you color matching is more interesting than watching me glue grips anyways.
It just
so.
really needs more white. Just don't want to. I mean, if you pour it dark, it's going to be extra dark. But
Because colors like that will cure darker than they are uncured, right?
there we go.
I knew so. Hi, Ashley. Are you doing a health insert? Oh, this is good, Ashley. Yes, you are.
You got a piggy? Who's a good pig?
He can get a social.
I know, Buck. Oh my. All right. Yeah, we're just gonna have to pour that. So.
What am I doing? Oh yeah, here we go. Spindrift. Is spindrift time. Specifically, pineapple, which is the best flavor. Ooh, Brent's punching up the virtual energy blackout.
Sweet.
Very nice, very
All
nice.
right. Yep, I think we're gonna be.
Yeah, go over the top here, grab a screwdriver. Where is it? Oh, there it is.
I think we're in pretty good shape there.
bench in the process.
That little bit of extra white and silver there at the end did the job, I think.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I at least poured it pretty good.
Yeah, and then
So
over here you can see on my plastic ball almost all of the blue got drilled out. You can barely even see any of the plug. There's a mainly right there, and there's a little bit on the top right corner here. Otherwise, came out very, very nicely.
Yeah. So
it's tragic that you didn't have sparkles. That one sliver's
I
just
know.
going to totally ruin the ball.
Yeah.
Never mind the fact this is going to be in a dumpster by like Valentine's Day. But
Yeah.
whatever.
All right. So the rest of these, I'm going to do the same kind of goldish green on that. Yeah, I'll take that. That's Oh, damn it! I forgot all of yeah. Damn it. Oops. That's a problem. It always messes with the color.
Going. It's not going at least.
Well, it's not. Yeah. Well, that's a problem. That's the problem.
Oh, I see. You forgot to actually start it going.
Knew I was gonna forget this.
Whoopsie doozles.
See, the problem when you leave a ball on the resurfacing machine with water going over it is it stains the ball.
Ah.
So the color match that was really good is now frickin' terrible because the ball has been bleached by the water because it was sitting there.
Oops.
I'm like, I'm not gonna forget this. I'm not gonna forget this, and then
And
I
you
completely
forgot it.
totally forgot it.
Yeah.
Which always happens. It's not anything new.
Murphy's Law or something like that.
So, this color match was really good, but you can see the streaks here. I didn't get it off the... It sat there with the water running over it, and so now the ball is bleached.
But the
You can see
plug
the
spot
streaks.
is not, essentially.
Yeah, the plug spot's not. So you can see the ball was bleached, so we had a really, really good color match, and now it's just not. Because the ball got bleached because it sat on there for the last 30 minutes with water running over it. And you can see where the water was hitting. Just hits there and runs off, and that'll eventually go away. It just doesn't look really pretty right now, so that's awesome. But
you'll be all right.
So either way, came out pretty good. Could have come out pretty good. And once he gets some games, I did that to something. Actually, my journey looks fine. I forgot it on the. So as soon as he gets some games on it, it'll.
Yeah, just get like a couple of games and you'll be good to go.
Yeah.
I've had phase twos actually do that after running through a detox.
Yeah.
It was like three games later, and it's a non-factor. All right, so we've been going for almost an hour, and I'm just now finishing my first bowling ball, so I'm going to have to pick up my pace a little bit. I'm assuming we don't want to be running this stream until 10:30 tonight.
And I didn't take this ball down very far, but Storm for some reason doesn't engrave labels very deep, so it's very easy to.
Oh wow, that's getting one off already.
Yeah, well, it's an old ball. He's resurfaced it
That's
several
what,
times.
2013 or 14, somewhere in that range.
Yep, something like that.
That's actually a good question. Can you see this? Is the serial number still visible?
Oh yeah, but
we get
they just don't engrave anything.
Yeah.
Well, no,
That's
it's serial numbers there. I didn't know what number.
It's not terribly surprising.
Yep. So, voila, my plastic is now done. I'll go ahead and show the finished product real quick before I put this back in. Move, Storm, move out. Bye. Gone.
DINGO.
Yep. So, all done. Feels great. You can see I got the little bit of wiggle room for my grips, which is perfect. Nice and snug.
That.
What does it start with a 1.5?
I think so.
Okay. I remember AJ Johnson used it when he bowled Belmo in the 2014 Masters final, so I knew it was around that general time frame.
Yeah, well, I remember I drilled Chris one when I started on staff, but I didn't drill one.
And DINGO was his name-o. There we go, bonk.
Yep, DINGO. Yes, I'm sorry.
Why doesn't Storm make their label engraving deeper so the logos don't come off so easy?
I don't ask questions anymore. The answers never make sense.
And there's your answer. Apologies to whoever asked that. I did not want to try butchering your name. So that's the closest we're going to get.
I don't ask questions.
I'm going to call you Captain Orangutan. How about that? Let's go ahead and get my Venom Shock done real quick. So this is going to be a very straightforward process. So this is my pin down Venom Shock. This currently has, I think you can kind of see it in there. That is not a Jopo sleeve, that is a turbo sleeve. So the cool part is converting from turbo to Jopo is very, very straightforward. So I'll be able to kind of show that process real quick. Basically, only need to draw one line and get it lined up, and then drill down, new sleeve in, Bob's your uncle. So going to get my pitches correct, which is 1/8 left, which is negative 0.125 on the x-axis, 0 on the y-axis. And then I need to draw a grip center line. This is the only part that's kind of like involves any sort of eyeballing. Is I want to make sure that I hit the center of my bridge, which close enough for government work. And then I have to kind of eyeball it to actually catch the center of the slug. And so I might have to take a crack or two at this to get it. Oh, nope, that's pretty much nailed. And so I need to have this line extending down below the slug so that I have that index point that I need to actually get my new Jopo sleeve lined up correctly. And if I don't do that, then the thumb's going to feel weird when I put my hand in the ball. So I've got that. And essentially what I do at this point, 1 3/8 inside diameter on the sleeve. This is a 1 3/8 bit. I've already got my pitches set correctly. And so I just essentially trial and error this until I can get the bit to go smoothly into the ball without feeling any unnecessary friction against the sides of the holes. So that is actually incredibly close already. I think we might be good. Yeah, that's close, but not 100% there. So I'll do that. That's just a little y-axis tweak. There's that. Yeah, that feels good. So that's pretty much settled on the y-axis. Double check my x-axis again. Pretty smooth there. How was this rattling?
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
making a funny noise.
Yeah. Sorry, I got like the entire workshop sitting right here. So now, essentially, I just ran this bit down while the press was running, just to make sure that it is in fact 100% lined up correctly. Everything went good. And so now, take our 1.5" Jopo bit. Remember, we are all lined up. Turbo and Jopo have the same outside diameter of exactly 1.5 inches. And so I can just run this Jopo bit down and loud noises, and in about 30, 45 seconds, I'll have a Jopo sized hole instead of a turbo sleeve in there.
Okay, so for the rubbing on both sides of the knuckle and on the back side, you could be gripping like Lucas said down there, or you could have too long of a span too that's causing you to drag on the way out. Yeah, and if you are rubbing on both sides, on the left and right side, yeah, you might just add another oval cut. If you just make the thumb hole a little bit wider, especially if you're rubbing on both sides. Normally, when you predominantly rub one side or the other. If you're rubbing both, then yeah, you probably just need a little bit wider oval. Let's see.
And so I'll just show this real quick. Same concept. So I've got my hole drill. I need to vacuum it out still, but have that little bit of rub spot on the right side of the thumb, which is what I want to see. That just confirms that I did in fact bury the slug properly.
Hi, you want to go outside, buddy?
So now I'm just going to get this finished up real quick. This is just going to be the same installation process as before.
You going outside, buddy?
With Un purple slug.
Come on, Dango.
Oh, noises. At this phase, I'm always very, very careful to make sure I'm getting everything out of there, out of the slug, just because at this point in the process, we're looking at glue and adherence, and I need to make sure that I have a properly sanitized and prepared surface for the slug to adhere to, because like it or not, grip pressure is a thing. So there's plenty of glue around the inside in there. And then same process as before, got the index striped there, get it lined up with the back. Pull that in. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, the strips on there make sure that the slug gets properly oriented in there every time you spin
properly
it
and consistently.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if it's a different orientation from ball to ball, that's going to mess with how the tape feels. So, all done. And then as soon as I'm done with this, I'll pull out mystery ball number 1.
All right, moving back the plugging direction. So this is just getting pitch plugged, but I still like mixing style. I still like practicing the color matching anyway. So you can see that this is a very, very goldish, very gold and silver green there. And so what I have right there so far is gold and silver with green, but that's significantly darker. And so I do need a drop of black in there. Black will annihilate a color really, really quick though. So I'm going to try for just a little half drop. So what you kind of do is if you get a full drop, it's going to, and this is already going to obliterate the color, but I can balance with the silver and gold. But normally to get a half drop, you put the bottle in there and you start squeezing it so it's just starting to come out of the tip of the nozzle there, and then you touch it to the surface of the plug, and so that gets you can manage how much you're getting in there. Got to that color. That's a little bit more vibrant of a color, so what I need now is just more green in there, because I think that that's the right amount of black.
Alrighty. Venom Shock all plugged up. Sleeve is in there. Everything feels awesome. And we are good to go. This ball is going to be going with me to the Tomsu next weekend, I believe. Or 2 weekends from now, whenever that is. Week and a half from now. All right. Which mystery ball should I grab first, Luke?
I don't know. All right. Green is a really weird color for some reason. It doesn't come out in drops like the other stuff does. It comes out in like
strings, right?
Yeah.
All right. I will let the chat decide. We have a ball that has green in it, and we have a ball that has red in it.
Green ball or red ball?
Those are the two mystery balls. Which one should I drill first? Next year at KTO, we're doing plug shots.
Yeah.
OSHA does not approve of this message, Lucas. Or red ball. You guys get to pick. Which one? Let's do the red ball. We have 2 votes for red.
Oh, I've got to send something to Lucas if this is Discord, Lucas.
It is. I believe it is.
So, yeah, Lucas, you need to send one of us your address. Oh, Angel already has it.
Angel
so
has
whether or
everything.
not you like this kind of beer or whatever.
That's awesome.
It's terrible. This is one of the beers that I entered in. We had a beer and chili competition at a friend's house, and they give prizes for best chili, but we also have a beer tasting contest, and you're supposed to bring both good beers that you think are going to win, and we also have an award for worst beer. And this one's a milk stout with maple syrup, cinnamon, and vanilla.
You know, that actually doesn't sound terrible.
Well, it's terrible as a beer. But
okay.
as a latte, it would be amazing.
That's okay. See, I drink coffee, not alcohol,
Yeah,
so that's kind of the bandwidth I'm operating within.
Yeah,
bad.
it's really bad as a beer.
Yeah. OSHA does not exist without observation. Bonk makes a good point.
Yeah.
All right. It is time to reveal the first mystery ball. Are there any guesses? Whoops. Sorry, Storm. You keep sneaking up on me, Bingo. All right. Screw it. Here we go. Dun, dun, dun. This is a fresh top speed. I got this one off of eBay. It's somehow a factory second from a color blem, which I don't understand because it looks incredible. So this one, whatever. I'll just get back to that later. New blue. No, it is not a new blue. I'm probably going to get one at some point, but I have no plans to get one right now.
Freaking sweet.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's probably the...
Oh, sorry, Storm.
They just didn't like the swirl pattern or something.
Sorry.
But yeah, that looks freaking sweet.
Yeah.
Who's your car and you managed to take up?
Here, Storm. Good boy. Yep. So this is another top speed. This is actually the third one I've drilled. So the first one that I had was pin up, mass in the thumb. I've already got 150 games on that, so the cover has been beaten all to heck in a handbasket. And then even to Hades, and then back to heck again. I'll grab a ball cup over here. I'm good. I'm going to go to your left now. So this one, I'm expecting to have some utility now, but more over time. So one thing that Luke and I have been talking about and discussing is finding ways to manage like oingo boingo friction levels that we run into in some places. And that's where actually having a worn-in cover with a not super fast layout on a ball that's still rolly can actually have a ton of utility, because you've got this worn-in cover that's not really going to grab as soon as it sniffs friction, plus a layout and a core that's still going to roll but kind of match that cover stock friction response. And so I'm going to be drilling this one, the top being pinned down as opposed to my first being pinned up, with the intent. I'm planning for the future a little more with this ball, not so much for right now, if that makes sense. So the layout on this, I'm going to kind of guesstimate this and see where it lands, because I think I know what I'm trying to accomplish. I'm just not sure if these numbers are going to get me exactly where I want it to be. I'm going to go 4.5 by 5.5 by 4. And so what that should do is put the pin below my bridge, and the mass probably, I might need to change that. Sorry, am I in here?
No, you're fine. I'm trying to move stuff.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm going to get Trent's drill sheet out of the way, dude, because this is not a good idea.
Yeah.
So what I'm essentially trying to do is get the pin below my bridge. I'll grab this is actually the reason I brought my Widows, to have a comparison point. So this is my pin down Widow hybrid that I've been throwing some. I just want a smoother ball with this type of setup on it. I still got the scratches in it from the regional. That's unfortunate. So nothing crazy. Pin below the bridge is about a 4.5 pin to axis, and then kind of a medium strength-ish mass bias. Nothing super flippy, nothing super blendy. Just kind of right in the middle, kind of let the ball be what it is. So I'm trying to, sorry, Meastles. Trying to hit that same type of idea on this top speed. And this is, for those keeping track, this is getting the red slug. And I think I might actually give one hint as to what the other ball is. The orange slug matches the labels. And it is, I don't think it is in production anymore, but it is
Hi, Dingo.
non-HK22
Off.
ASIN. Is the other ball that I'm drilling. So now I've just got my PAP, or I got this mapped to my PAP and vertical axis line. My PAP is 4 3/4 right by 1 1/4 up. So I just reversed that back out. And so now, voila, there's my grip center line. And then let's just double check these distances. So I wanted the pin to be just below my bridge. This is a dot ball, so I could technically drill right through it. However, if I were to drill this right now, I think it would actually barely catch my middle finger. So I'm gonna actually just leave this as it is. That looks good enough. And then you can see the mass is, what is that, 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches off of the vertical axis line, which is right about exactly where I wanted it. So that worked out perfectly. So it'll be fingers like right there. My thumb's gonna go partly through the Columbia label right there, but it'll look cool. So whatever, we take those. So.
And back to the plug. You can see I've gotten it greener and it's darker. Now it's not quite gold enough. It's a little drab. And so I'm just gonna add some gold, especially back in. I think it's got enough silver in there. We just need the gold back in there to make that pop. And again, it's just pitch plugging, so it's not that big of a deal. But again, I like the practice.
Yeah. As if you don't have enough stuff to be perfectionistic about as it is. So now I go up 2 1/8 from the grip center, and that's my middle finger cut line. And then I go 3/16 up from that middle finger cut line, and that is my ring finger cut line. Now I've got, my spans are 4 1/4 plus on my middle finger and 4.5 minus on my ring. My middle finger is not very flexible, and so I've got a decent chunk of reverse in both fingers, but also not a super long span on my middle finger to help relieve some of that pressure. Otherwise, the tendons in my fingers get really, really stiff and sore and don't like to play nice. So just kind of helps relieve that pressure. So now we got fingers drilled and ready to go. Looks like I'm actually just barely going to miss the dot, but this is a dot ball, so the pin's actually on the complete opposite side of the ball. You can see the pin right there. It's the black dot. So that's the actual pin, but that's the physical pin, but for drilling purposes, this is where this dot is what you use for actually doing layouts and such. So that'll be dot just below the bridge. My thumb's going to be about right there, and then there's the mass. So pretty much perfect and exactly what I thought it was going to be. Actually, I kind of want to put the orange slug in this and then just throw a black slug in the other ball. Nah, red slug.
Sweet. Yeah, somebody asked earlier if I was going to had an obsession tour to plug, and yes, I do. How easy is it to convert a slug to interchangeable? It's super easy. Super easy. All you have to do is just drill the slug out, because the interchangeable hole is bigger than the slug hole, and so all you have to do is just line the bit up and drill the slug out and install
it's the exact same process as when I just switched from a turbo sleeve to a Jopo sleeve. So same concept.
So now there's the that'll look better when I get it poured in the hole.
Are you just letting it cure and chill a little bit before you pour it in? Or?
So this is a little bit more difficult on this because there's no plug dam. Again, I'm just pitch plugging it.
Living dangerously. Top speed still in rotation. Yes, it makes it for the tournament bag, Brian, but not for leagues as much.
I think he means is it?
Is it still in production?
Possibly.
But it is actually. I thought they had discontinued it, but I had looked on the Columbia website about a week ago, and it's still on there. So this one I just got a better price on eBay for a factory second color blend that still looks fantastic. So pay less for a ball that still looks sick. I'll take that any day of the week. And honestly, they could make a turd, like they did make a turd colored ball, and I threw the crap out of it. I was about to say they can make a ball look like a turd, and if it strikes, I'll throw it. Then I realized Obsession Tour exists.
The light here. So basically with pitch plugging, I'm going to fill the hole up and then just drill it right back out. So I'm just filling it up absolutely as far as it'll go.
Does it bubble over when you do that?
No, it'll shrink. It'll actually shrink, so that's why I need to get it as
interesting. Okay.
As full as possible.
Actually, Brian, I'm not sure if the other one is in production anymore. Let me check. Oh, interesting. So they're both current production. Did not realize that.
What?
The other mystery ball that's sitting back there is still in production.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't know that.
Fairly new.
I was thinking they had discontinued it for some reason. Whoopsie doozles.
I think that could take another drop.
All right, loud noises. Yeah, look at this guy. So you're just using the stir stick to kind of drip a little more on there? Is that what you're doing?
Trying to get it as level as possible. So that way as it will gradually settle a little bit. So as it settles and spreads out, I've got to make sure that it's as level as possible.
Because
So
otherwise it won't settle.
It'll just run. But I think
Yeah.
I don't
I'll
have.
say it looks close enough. I don't think you're in any
I don't
danger
have
at
a
this
ton
point.
in there. So
And then, do you want to bring the camera back over here? Because I know there was someone asking a minute ago about vacuum grips. I want to show kind of the process for those that might be interested.
That's a little too bright, but I mean, I would.
That's freaking. I mean, for a pitch plug, it doesn't matter anyways, really.
Yeah.
But that looks really nice.
I would have gotten it a little darker.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the color. It's just a little too bright.
Yeah.
So as long as you get the color right, then you can adjust the brightness typically.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
So what we have here is my top speed, which I've got this queued up. Did I like my brutal collision? I liked the shape of it. It was just a little too strong for a lot of what I actually needed to get shape-wise. So the top speed kind of kicked the brutal out of my rotation to a certain out of the bag for most tournament situations. The brutal's still very, very good if I need a ball to hook above all else, but I don't hit that situation very often. So essentially, this is a 1 1/32 inch bit that I have on the press right now. Grips. There you are. This is a Turbo Quad Classic 3/4 inch inside diameter. Outside diameter is 31/32. So that corresponds to the 31 32 bit that I have sitting right here. So what I actually do is I will take this 1 1/32 bit, and I draw my spans based off of the larger bit size, not the smaller one. So I've got this bit lined up to go right up on both my span cut line and the bridge line right here. And so it's going to perfectly go up to both of those. And I'll go down for about 3/4 of an inch past once the top of the bit is fully inside the ball. And then once I'm done with that, then I'll just grab my 31/32 bit and go down to normal depth. So I just kind of wanted to show that process and what that looks like real quick. So loud noises.
Max with the important observations here.
And so right here, I'm at just a shade under 3.5 on the depth scale on the drill. And so now I'm just going to go down. I cheat a little bit. I know what my marks are on loose press. This is where I drill all my stuff now. So I'll go down to just a shade over 2 5/8. Stop there. Double check everything, make sure it's nice and smooth. And that is the top part of the hole drilled. Set that bit back on the carousel. And then this is back to the 31/32 bit. Again, exact same alignment. I want this to be centered in the overall hole that I just drilled. Then we go down another 1 1/8 of an inch. So it's going to be down to 1.5 on the scale. And so that'll get me right at 2 inches of total depth on the hole, which is pretty much right where I want to be for turbo grip to have a little bit of room to work with to kind of get the slug seated in there properly. Just run the bit down one more time, make sure everything's cleaned out. And voila. Now, just another quick hit with the vacuum. Not the last one, because I still need to buzz it. That is the finger holes done. As you can see, hit your lines, kids. Always hit your lines. So that is done now. And so at this point, I just need to pull spans for the thumb. And this is the exact same process at this point as what I did a few minutes ago for my plastic ball. So this label's right in the way. That's fantastic. Here, I'm going to resharpen this just a little bit first. That one looks really cool.
Show off the ball cups we're talking about. This one actually says breakdown pair on it. This is just like the coolest one, and the camera can't even pick it up.
Yeah, it's like a translucent but also iridescent, like white plastic type of look. It's pretty sick.
Breakdown pair. You can get these from Scarred Prints, SKARD. Find those on Facebook, and Rosedall 10 gets you 10% off. They make pen cups and all kinds of different things. And here's the
that's
roller.
The roller spinner.
Yeah, this is the spinner that goes along with it.
This is ball bearings on all those. They're actually.
These
I
are
really like using this when I'm changing grips and stuff at home.
Yeah, or
really
cleaning
Yes.
after a set.
Yep.
And then
And it's shocking. They're shockingly low profile for how like sturdy they are, which is actually really, really nice.
yeah, they're super heavy duty, and they come in all kinds of different colors. He was mentioning the one that went with the. I think this is one of the ones that goes with the alert over there. This is one of our Panda Pack ones.
That looks really sick. Yeah.
But the cool thing about these too is they're you can get them personalized.
They're personal. You can personalize them. Yeah.
But
Personalizable.
even
Is that a
then,
word?
if they've got the Scarred Prints logo on them, they're easy for you to figure out which ones are yours, because there's a lot of people that go to tournaments and they get those ball cups out, but they just have generic ball cups and they either kind of disappear or whatever else. There's no mistaking that these are actually yours.
Yeah. Or like, I don't know, is mine? Oh, mine's at home, but I have one that Max made for me that's actually got my channel name on it, and so it makes it real easy, even when there's other people with the same design, to know which one is mine. So,
and we have special edition ones coming for the Doggo fundraiser.
Nice. Yeah, I think those are going into production very soon, actually.
Yep. I'm not doing anything terribly interesting over here. I'm plugging the Marvel Max Force next.
Okay.
And this is it's teal and kind of a pinkish red, and then that's a very, very dark purple. It's not black.
That's dark purple?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, it is. Yeah, I can see it. That's interesting. Okay.
Very, very dark purple.
It's that's almost like a darker UC2 type of color.
Yeah, so I am going with it's kind of half in the purple and half in the red. But in a situation like this, it's enough in the black and there's kind of a swirl there, the purple, and so I'm just going to go with the purple because it's easier to hide. If you try to do the red and you don't hit it, it's going to stick out.
It's because you're always trying to make plug as unnoticeable as possible.
Yeah.
And if you do the black, then it's easier to match, and it's got enough black around it already that it's easier to just kind of make it blend in and seem logical for it to be there almost.
Yeah, you're trying, and that's the best point, is you're trying to hide it, whether by matching or hiding it.
Yeah.
So, it's all the same.
Yes and no, but it's like if
match it if you can, hide it if you can't.
Yeah, exactly. But like matching is one way of hiding it. You can also hide it by tactically choosing what color you put in to kind of make it a little bit easier to justify from an artistic perspective almost. So now I'm just going through the exact same process as what I did, drilling the slug on or putting the new sleeve in my plastic ball. So I've got my cut line and my vertical grip line. My cut to cut is 4 1/4 plus on the middle and 4 1/2 minus on the ring. So plus and a minus is like a 32nd essentially. So it's just a little easier to say that way, but it's a 3/16 span difference between the two. So I'm just checking that my bit is properly aligned on that vertical grip line. And then now I'm just adjusting to make sure, oh, well, that was actually really close to begin with. So the span line is going right through this Columbia label, so I'm having to be a little extra careful and make sure that I hit it correctly. I might just have to pull that close enough and take a crack at it and see what happens. But even when I start drilling, the very first thing I'll do is barely go in there a little bit. And then what that does is that actually gives me a definitive like bottom of the cone of what I'm drilling out. And I always check the bottom of that cone to make sure that is still on the vertical grip center line, which that's just kind of a little trick that I don't know if you do that, Luke, but that's something I do just to make sure that I've got it lined up perfectly.
What?
Is I'll just cut just a teensy little bit of that, and I'll use the bottom of that cone to double check and make sure I'm lined up properly.
I'll drill it. Actually, I will go about halfway down and I'll check it, and then I'll get the edge and then check it again. So it's same,
same concept.
Same difference.
So from here, I'm going to go down to where the flanges on the drill bit are completely in the ball, and then that's when I double check. And I'm watching. You'll notice I'm watching from the side as I'm drilling down to make sure that I'm lined up correctly. And if I miss, then this is the time to catch that and adjust for it before I commit to where this thumb is going in the ball, essentially. So, loud noises. All right, so I actually missed by about a 30-second or so. I'm trying to touch the line but not actually hit it, and I hit the line. So that is why, and this is also why I like drilling with the like doing the cut to cut off of the 1 3/8 bit, is this makes it a lot easier to tweak this a little bit before I commit to the full 1.5" bit to actually put the sleeve in there.
Yeah, it's a happy accident if you line it up and actually hit perfectly on the bottom of the line when you actually get it drilled. That's a happy accident. That's not something that is predictable or doable consistently.
I'm just cheating this.
Some people use a razor blade, but you can bend the razor blade one way or the other. I just prefer to double check the actual drill.
Yeah, exactly. So I've got I can still see enough of the span line to double check my alignment, and so I'm just tweaking that a little bit. And I'm just like, that's a 30-second at most that I missed by, but I want to make sure that I get this right. And so now, just run the bit back down, and double check, and hopefully we're good. Make sure that my vertical, make sure everything's got locked down too, before I start drilling into a $200 bowling ball. Sweet. And that is perfect. Kind of lean on this a little more. You can actually see, turn this off so you can actually see just a teensy weensy little lip right there on the front edge. And that's how much I moved the jig by to accommodate that. So that's like almost nothing, but like when I put my hand in the ball, I'd probably be able to feel that. And so I'm picky enough that I just want to make sure I do it right. So here we go. So again, this is the same process as I'm piloting with a 1 3/8 bit to kind of knock most of the material out. Then I'll come back through in just a second with my 1 1/2 Jopo bit. And that little lip that I just showed you will get knocked out because that's way less than a 1/16, which the addition is 1/16 radius, 1/8 diameter. That's the difference between a 1 3/8 and 1 1/2. So that'll be more than enough to kind of knock out that little bit that I had to adjust by on the 1 3/8 cut. So I pilot it down to about 3 inches or so. enough to get most of the hard work done, but now I can just go back in with my Jopo bit and finish the job. So as I get close to full depth here, I like to kind of get everything cleared out. So I'll actually turn the press off, take the bit out, and then vacuum it. That's because something is a little thing that I found, especially with the Jopo bit, because of how deep you're cutting into the ball. If there's too much material down there that you're trying to move with the flanges while also cutting, I think that can actually induce a little bit of drill bit chatter at some points, which is part of where me losing that sleeve out of my plastic ball happened. So this is something I've started doing to kind of protect against that a little bit more. Voila. There's the finished and prepared hole. Everything's nice and dry and clean and smooth.
You can see the different colors there.
Oh yes, this is a Dynamicore ball.
Yeah, the blue is the Dynamicore, and you can tell that it's Dynamicore because it's blue. Most of the time it's a very light brown or beige, and then that darker material down in there is where the core is at.
And yes, Brent, Jopo is awesome. I have been very, very happy with them.
All right, so he's just gonna glue that in. So we're gonna pop back over here for a plug update. So that's kind of what that looks like. The little tiny bubbles that work themselves out. They're just gonna get drilled out anyway. So that's not a problem whatsoever. And they'll eventually kind of fix themselves. They just kind of float to the top. But that's pretty solid on the color there. This is how this one's doing. That's probably the closest I've ever gotten that color, and that's pretty well indistinguishable. So I'm pretty happy with that. I just poured this one. As you can see the purplish tint. But if you look kind of on this, if I can get the lights out of the way, you can see that color, which just looks black, it's actually very, very dark purple, which you can see on the sides of the color. So that's why I went with the dark purple. And like I said, it was kind of half in this pinkish red. But if I miss that color, it's going to stand out. This is going to be so close to the color when it gets done that we're going to be fine. So I'm going to move on to the Obsession Tour and the Black Widow. The Obsession Tour looks brown, but it's magenta and black. I will pretty well guarantee you. So that's what I'm going to go with. And if I do need to make it brown, I'll just have to add a little bit of yellow to the magenta, I think. So
Ooh, this red sleeve actually looks really nice in this. Yep. So got my sleeving, got everything indexed properly.
yeah, so now we're just gonna cut it off.
Let it cure for a second. Cut it off.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're good.
Give it a few seconds. I used Turbo Slow Zip.
Yep.
And so it's really, really great stuff because it's a little thicker than the typical stuff.
It holds very well and very consistently once it's in there too.
It holds very well. And it gives you a few seconds to set things up. Some of the other glues just instantly lock up. So uh-oh. Joe B's talking about drilling a P2, dag nab.
Magenta, black, small amount of yellow for the phase 2 or for the turd
Yeah,
balls.
that's what I'm thinking, because the magenta is just a little pinkish, and there's going to be some black in there too. So, because if I go magenta and yellow, it's going to make the ball brighter. So I'm thinking it's good, but it's going to be magenta black, and it's probably going to take a little bit of yellow to give it that brownish tint.
Yeah, that makes sense. Tim, I'm not 100% sure that I'm following your question. How do you create the actual thumb sleeve for the Jopo?
Well, I think he's talking about how
Is he
you
asking
drill out
about
the thumb slug.
the inner?
Yeah.
Okay, so, crap. Do I? Yes, I do actually. Here we go. So, this right here is a uncut Jopo inner. So it essentially is like a thumb slug, essentially. And you just put it in the ball and drill it like a normal slug on the press. And this is one of my finished slugs in the upright orientation. So my fingers, whoops, almost knocked your camera over. Fingers will be right here. There's a oriented, whatever the word is. Words are hard correctly. So it's got all my tape and everything in there, but it's a very simple process. Like you just screw this in essentially and then drill it like a normal slug and all is good.
All right, so I did go on ahead and I put like 4 or 5 drops of magenta in there. I did go on ahead and add the drop of yellow in there because I know it's going to need it, and then I put a drop of black in there. So.
Cool. So this is sat long enough. Let's go ahead, shave down this Jopo sleeve. And it's almost time for mystery ball number 2. Is this rubbing alcohol on this?
No, it's just water.
Okay, cool. Just using a wet rag to get the pencil marks off of my top feed. And now I just need to glue grips. And this ball is done. And then we get to find out what the magic mystery ball number 2 is.
About the ugliest color I've ever seen. It's kind of like a grayish now. So I just need to keep. I think I probably need to add red and yellow is what I need to do.
Yeah, it just looks like you need a lot more vibrancy color-wise,
Yeah.
almost.
So
That actually does look like a turd. Like, I thought the Obsession Tour was a turd. That's actual turd.
So you can see that that's kind of a, and that's one of those adjustments that I make. It looks brown, but it's a reddish yellow once you actually look at it. So what I have right now is gray. So I'm going to add some red and some yellow to it, and we're going to see what happens. Let's start with a drop of each. All right. So We got the brown there. That's difficult to see.
That's actually a lot closer. That's
Yeah,
wow. That is a much more reddish color on the ball than I
Okay,
realized.
there you can see the color. I need another drop of black, or a drop or two of black, but you can see that the color tone is in the right place.
Yeah. Now
We're
you're
going
just
the
you're
right
figuring out
direction.
like brightness essentially, brightness and saturation now more than anything else,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, and it doesn't really need a whole lot of saturation. So
Yeah. Well, you've got the hue figured out, so to speak.
yeah.
So I went back to, I don't know if I mentioned this week, but I got my non-bowling talk for a second here. Got my haircut today, and I'm back on Team Buzzcut for the first time in probably about 7 years. And I just went up to scratch my head, and I was like, wait, where's all my hair? But especially with it getting into winter time, which it's like 35 out today, and that feels like what I'm used to is winter already from North Carolina. So I figured it was time because that means it's beanie weather at this point. The exciting bowling content you came here to listen to, I'm sure.
So if you nail a color match, do you ever notate exactly how much of each color you use to recreate it in the future? Yes and no. What I do notate is the colors that I used in a general approximation of how much I used, because as the colors swirl throughout the ball, if I go to plug either a different one of the same ball or a different spot on that ball, the color shade and tone is going to vary a little bit depending on how many colors it's intermixed with.
Well, and two is like, I would think there would be at least a little bit of like ball-to-ball variance even within a batch
There is.
of like, even if you get like, let's say, compare this alert to Malcolm's, if they're from if they're from different batches, the green might be just a little bit off. And it's one of those things where you might not notice it unless you put them like right next to each other, but it's certainly within the range of outcomes, I guess. That happens. So I guess it's kind of like color matching, I think, is more art than science, honestly. It's one of those things where I feel like it's kind of good to take notes so you can remember how to get there, but the path to get there might be a little different each time.
So look at that.
Wow. So is that just an extra drop of black on top of...
Yeah, it takes 2 drops of black.
Okay.
So I think that we're pretty well there. The plug looks a little bit more vibrant than the ball does. That's not really a problem though.
I was going to say,
I'm probably going to add just another little tiny spot of black to it.
Just to kind of calm it down a pinch?
Yeah.
Is this going to be like a half drop trick?
Yeah, it's just a barely kiss the top of it with the dye bottle.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And because of how much black it has in it, it's going to already turn darker.
Yeah.
All right. The problem is that I had to put some white in it to make it opaque. Because if you just use the regular colors, it's going to come out too deep. And there is a little bit of white in this to make it opaque.
That makes sense.
However, I think we're pretty well right on top of it now. So I'm going to go ahead and pour that. Call it a day.
The first fit test on a ball I just drilled always makes me nervous, but feels great. We good? I actually need to clean up that edge right there a little bit. Actually, I'm just going to reshave the top of the slug. I didn't get that quite flush.
That's freaking sweet.
Downside of, I think that kind of just tripped me up a little bit because I'm drilling right on top of the etched Columbia ladle. I didn't want to dig into the ball too much. That needs a little more cleanup work on the top edge. But aside from that one little niggle, everything else feels perfect. So that is very, very good news. Make sure this is all locked down. Hi, doggies. We has friends. There we go.
I give you Obsession Tour Brown.
Barely bumped the top of it, so it's got just a teensy little white mark on it, but that'll come off.
All these little bubbles will work their way out. That's why I like the Thunder plug so much. I can be a little bit more aggressive with my mixing. I don't have to be so gentle with it. And you can see they'll just continue to pop and continue to pop, and then I'll cut all the bubbles off the top. Have perfect smooth plug every time. But yeah, that color is, I mean, just absolutely dead on. So it's going to be terrible when I cut it and finish it. So
Who cares?
no, it's actually red and yellow. So I guess I don't know.
Sort of.
But yeah, so
That's what I learned in Canada.
what we're looking at there. That one's still in really good shape.
We basically are in kindergarten mentality.
See, the bubbles continue to come to the top, so I'm not going to have any final bubbles in the final at the very top because these are over poured. So
I died.
bubbles come to the top. Don't have to worry about them.
It was 15 when I pulled it out of the bag. I forgot to
Bang.
charge it.
And then the 2.0 is black.
I'd say that's literally just a black and a very dark, like burgundy red swirl.
Yeah, so what I need to do though is I do need to add a little bit of white to it to make it opaque, because otherwise it's going to be too deep of a color.
Makes sense.
So
Yeah, you got the ring finger done.
Yeah.
Luke, I think it's time for me to reveal the other mystery ball.
2 hours and you're just now getting to that?
I've been taking my time. We've been talking a lot, okay?
No, it's really not okay, actually. Move it.
Sorry, I'm trying.
oh, it's
It took me
Yeah.
it took me almost an hour to get done with the plastic ball. I picked up
Yeah.
the case a lot since then.
yeah. I still need.
Angel's gonna kill
a
me.
snack.
Angel's gonna kill me.
No, I have a fresh jar of pickles in there, so y'all better move it.
All right. Very quickly, I'm going to steal the camera for a second. It is time to reveal mystery ball number 2. This is a track archetype. This one is not new in the box. It's actually single drill, which, yeah, this isn't working very well. No, not an Outer Limits Gorilla. Not really feeling it with that ball. I haven't really seen it all that well. But so this, if you watch one of the videos that Track put out for the archetype when it first came out, you'll notice this is drilled as a left-hander, and that is because this used to belong to Mike Jaczynski. Jaczynski, is that how you say his name, Luke?
Something like that.
Yeah. And the guy, he coaches for the Trine University bowling team.
That
And
color was perfect when I poured it.
the thumb, yeah, I'm not.
Now, shoot.
Sorry.
The fingers, however,
The fingers
absolutely
are
perfect.
nailed. Yeah.
Can't even see them.
So that is
Really hard.
the other ball that I am drilling. Still tinkering a little bit. I think I want to go a little more like weak sky pin on this almost. So I had a 3D offset, the pink one, that actually worked really well as a friction ball, or a higher friction ball. And this kind of shapes in that same general realm, but just looks blobby and hilarious going down the lane. So kind of a freebie to try something. Or not a freebie, but I traded a ball I wasn't using to get this. And hopefully both parties end up happy by the end of it. So,
God, I don't know what we're gonna have to use other bottles.
I'm thinking layouts right now. I'm probably just going to kind of chuck something on here and see what happens, see how it looks. Thinking, let's do this.
All right, this bottle I hate. I might just throw this stupid thing away. I really hate this bottle.
What bottle is that?
No, it's the storm. Just feel it. You can't even squeeze it. It's just like solid. So there's no touch.
Oh gosh, yeah.
There's no touch to
give
how you
it.
can.
Yeah.
And then the other storm bottles, there's no touch on those either. It just goes from where's it at, where's it at? Oh crap, that's 3 drops. So we had to just yeet one bottle. So I'm just going to use the Vice bottles. I use the storm stuff on stuff like this so that I can, preserve the good bottles, but I'm really just sick of messing with this stuff.
Fair. So
Just use the bottles from the company that does it right.
I am the first pass of this is went 5 by 5 by 2 on my archetype. So the general thought here is I want the pin to end up a little higher above my bridge. 5 by 2 is actually the same pin as what I have on my Ocean Vibe. So it's copying that same pin and then getting the mass bias. Ideally, that's going to have to move a little bit, I think. That's pretty close, actually. That is actually pretty dang close to what I was trying to get to. Mass about an inch off. Actually, so this is where I'm thinking a little bit about how the ball's characteristics and how I want to meld that. So I want to look up the intermediate diff. 2.518 RG, 053 diff, 020 ASIM. Yeah, that mass isn't going to stay there. Time to redraw. That's not staying.
It's a medium-ish RG, but it's fairly strong.
But that's a lot more asymmetry than I thought it had. Mm-hmm. And because I'm setting this up for friction control, if I had left the mass where it was, that was going to have my mass bias and drilled mass bias too close to each other, which was going to... Crap, what did I... Okay, never mind, I'm good. Just losing my mind over here. So I want to get that mass a little bit more off of the VAL. I'm still going to keep that same pin, which is 5 by 2. So that was 5 by 5 by 2 is what I just drew. So I'm going to go 5 by 4 by 2 is actually what I have on my nuclear cell. I think that's going to be pretty dang close. The nuke is about the same spot in terms of core numbers. And I know that'll move the mass just a little more off of, or more away from my grip center, which is kind of what I'm trying to hit with this. Got that same 2-inch arc for the pin buffer. And yeah, it's going to be right. I can tell already. This is going to be pretty much exactly what I was after. The thumb's actually really close to my PAP.
Yeah. That's going to be sweet looking.
Yeah, for 0.2 seconds until it gets flares off of that.
What woof? You know outside woof?
You say boof?
You're an outside woof?
No,
Mama said no.
he isn't the problem. They keep eating poop biscuits.
DINGO.
He goes out and sits, and they go out and taste test.
Well, how about Storm gets to go outside? And y'all can... The nice good buddy goes outside, and the other puppies don't. Bye, Buck Buck. Sweet. Okay, you go. I'll watch. Do you want to go? Pig, pig.
Never a dull moment.
Yeah, hang over.
Okay, so use up a little bit extra pencil here because I want my lines to be very sharp for the fingers.
Okay.
So we got PAP. That's 4. That's 5. And then that's 2. So pretty much exactly what I was trying to get. Wanted 5x4x2 on this. So now the exact same process, and I'm drilling into another label. Fantastic. Yay! You can see also, got the mass a little more off my grip center line. So my drilled mass bias is going to be about right there-ish. So got a little bit of a gap there, which is exactly what I was trying to hit. So up 2, 1/8. Cross line there. And that is the cut line for my middle finger. Put this to the side. Got a flexi ruler for extra precision. And then up.
Left arm out for balance.
Correct.
Here, say we've got a buddy in Topeka that only has his right arm, and so
Nice.
we've gone to nationals before, and the team names are 9 arms. 9 arms number 1 and 9 arms number 2.
Or like 9 arms, no clue, or something like that.
Yeah. And so he always jokes. He gets up there. It's like, yep, setting up in the stance, left arm out for balance.
That's pretty good. So now I'm just double checking my lines to make sure everything is kosher.
His right arm's a frickin' tree trunk, though.
That makes sense.
I am Groot.
And voila. So, just kind of looking at this and thinking it through before I drill. So that pin is pretty much exactly what I wanted. Fingers are going to be right there. It just kicks it up a little higher and a little farther away from my axis. Then that's going to put the thumb. Let's go down. What's that? 4 1/4-ish. So that means my thumb is going to be about right there. Yep.
See how good those fingers are?
Can't even see
you
the fingers
can't even
exist.
see them.
Yeah, that's
Unless I get in there. You didn't even know those were there, did you?
Yeah, I mean, even that you're not even going to be able to hardly see
Well,
it.
and see, the problem is that was perfect when I poured it, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, it's a giant green spot.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it whatsoever. So,
It's gonna look cool.
yeah. So, anywho, all done with that. So, back on L drill press. It's time to vacuum grip more fingers.
Ready to pour the last ball here, and this is realistically close enough. It's dark, just dark ball, dark plug. You're never going to be able to see it, so that one doesn't really make any difference. There's a little bit of a reddish hue there, but this is so dark that
You're just going straight up black and that's it?
pretty much.
Makes sense.
And then I did add, again, a couple drops of white just to make it opaque, like the ball is. Otherwise, it would have been too clear.
Oh, interesting.
Black is a very overwhelming color, though, so it doesn't, even though I added white, I didn't get gray. You're not
I was going to say, this like 1 drop of black can counteract like 5 drops of white or something.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. So, yeah, it's not a... Yeah, 1 drop of black and 1 drop of white should give you gray. It doesn't. It gives you a very, very dark black.
You mean a very, very dark gray?
Touche. A very, very light black.
Yeah. Skip all that and make everything Vanta black, call it a day.
Yeah.
Let's pull a, who is it that does that? Austin? No,
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah. So,
Pull the Boulds.
see, it's black, but it's kind of a whitish black, but the rest of the
White?
ball is kind of a whitish black.
A whitish black?
Yeah, white.
White?
Stewie, why are you pronouncing the H? What do you mean? Say Cool Whip. Cool Whip.
I saw a skit one time of Seth actually voice acting out that entire skit live. I think it was on like the Graham Norton
Yeah,
show.
it was
or
on the
something.
Graham Norton show. I just saw that
Oh
the other
my
day. That's what I remember
gosh.
from. Yes,
I was-
Cool Whip.
Like,
Yeah,
number
yeah.
1, the skit itself is hilarious, but number
Yeah.
2, like, the amount of like Like, it's almost like you're speaking a second language and flipping back and forth on the fly to do that. To actually, like, voice act both of those in real time. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of a remarkable talent that I never thought about from a voice acting perspective when you do multiple characters like that.
This ball reminds me an awful lot of the Rotogrip Sinister,
Yes, very much so.
and the numbers are even close.
Really?
Well, it's aside
Was
from
the
the
Sinister
int diff.
ASIM?
Yes, it was ASIM.
Oh, wait, that had the critical core in it, didn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, no, it had the cage core.
Was that not the core from the critical?
It might have been, I guess.
No, I'm thinking of the Menace. That's what it was. It was the same core as the Menace.
Yeah, the Sinister and the Menace.
Yeah.
Was the Sinister the one that you drilled and then you found out you could only throw storms?
Yeah, that was exciting.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, because I drilled when I started talking to Storm at first, it was in August, and they do calendar year contracts, and I had drilled a Sinister and a High Road Solid, and the Sinister was amazing, but then when I got my contract, it was Storm only, so I had to stop throwing the Sinister.
Fantastic.
But the Sinister is 252 054, but only 015.
Okay.
So it's pretty well right on
That's
top of the.
kind of same RG range as the
Yeah.
nuclear core, though, if I
And at
remember
that
correctly.
time, the contract was literally, you couldn't throw
Yeah.
any other ball.
Yeah, it was literally just Storm only.
Which is un bummer grande.
Yeah.
But they had only really had roto under them for like a short time, right?
What?
Oh, somebody said that their IQ paint cracked. I don't know how, since it only has 15 games on it, was kept in the garage for the majority of its life. Well, the garage, ours is somewhat climate controlled, but not perfectly climate controlled. And unfortunately, the best thing for bowling balls is to use them. And so if they sit, even if it's fairly climate controlled, if they just sit in one place, we've actually had a couple crack here in the last month or two that have just been sitting there.
That's
And yeah, they're gonna pop. If
Pour
you don't-
one out
If
for
you
the
don't use
IQ
them,
pink.
rotate them, move them around, throw them at stuff. If they just sit, gravity will take hold.
The one nice thing about most of ours in the basement is we constantly get them out to show them off so they're messed with.
Yeah, we mess with stuff quite a bit. So
Not enough. All done now?
So as he's finishing this up, and we're kind of gonna wrap the stream up here in the next 10 or
Yeah.
15 minutes.
Yep. Sorry.
We went out and filmed for a bunch of stuff yesterday. So
Loud noises. Sorry.
Yep. So footage for the journey, I actually put a couple of, I got the cuts done for Angel with the journey and me with the journey shiny, but I do actually take a 2000 grit pad to it and then film some more. And so I'm in the process of finishing up all the cuts, but hopefully I'll have the review done and put together tomorrow to launch it tomorrow night. I also did get some footage for the TNT infused. That one has been very, very surprisingly good. And I think universally a lot of the staffers were surprised because the TNT was decent, but it just felt like a cover core mismatch. And I thought, well, a cleaner version or, hybrid version of a cleaner cover is not, it's just going to make it even worse, but it actually makes it.
It somehow looks like a better
So much
core
better.
cover balance.
Oh my God, it's so much better. And I really do like the ball. Now it is, you can tell it's a TNT. It has that same shape. But man, this one, I really, really like it. It's definitely Daredevil Danger territory, which
It looks like a better danger.
high wire territory,
Yep.
even. So it is somewhat forward and directional, but it just,
It's a good directional, not a bad directional.
Yeah,
you and I were talking about that.
yeah, it's
when I
not a
first saw
hook.
it.
Yeah, it's not a hook stop directional. It's I can control the direction, and it retains energy and has momentum in that
It's
direction.
insight directional, not hypercell fused directional.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably a decent way to say it.
Yeah, it's
Sweet. I love it when I nail my spans and everything works up. So I've
What are you
got
doing, Buck?
4 1/4 plus on the middle finger, 4 1/2 minus
Hi.
on the
You're
ring.
gonna knock my.
I measured out
I know, you're a buddy.
absolutely perfect.
Come here, buddy. Come here. Hi. I know, buddy. You're a
that.
nice buddy. You're a
Got
nice
to
buddy.
extend my grip center line, so I have that index mark for after.
You're the buddy. You're a nice buddy. You swoof. That's
check
woof.
this.
Hey, sweetie bird. I know.
Sweet. That's it for pencil marks,
Pickle chips.
unless something goes incredibly wrong. Which,
Bagel chips.
knock on wood.
Bleed cut so low. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like as if you ripped it
yeah.
out of a nail bed.
Yeah. And then,
Poor piggy.
yeah. Pig dog, we had her in or Aspen. We had her at the vet a couple weeks ago because she got an upset tummy and just, I've never seen so much liquid come out of any kind of organism, person or beast.
Poor piggy.
And so she had to spend a night at the vet on fluids and whatever else and to get her back going. Well, she ripped a dew claw out today entirely. And so she's fine. We're going to get her to the vet in the morning and she'll be okay, but yeah.
Never a dull moment.
Yeah, she spent more time at the vet for various reasons.
At least I'm not drilling through a label on the thumb, so I can see it a little easier first try.
You're what?
Yeah, but anyhow, plus we have some special
So hate
stuff. We got some vintage stuff, and if you saw the last drilling stream, then you know what we drilled and what we got footage for.
I know, I hate it. I don't need to see your ugly balls.
So, interesting.
Stating facts.
You got an absolute. The absolute's really good.
People have said worse things on his streams, and he's been okay. So I think
Yeah.
he's all right.
I'm actually refurbing my absolute a little bit.
Ooh, nice.
I need to get like another 20 games on it to tame the cover down, but it's almost like a cleaner and sharper TNT infused. The infused and the absolute look very similar as far as shape goes. The infused is just a little slower, so I'm really looking forward to getting the absolute back in fighting shape because I do It's just ASINs typically are not good for me on the left side. I don't need that much torque. And so the shape looks good. The ball reaction is just too much. But the absolute cover is on the weaker side. And so if I get some gains on it, aim it down to where it slows down a little bit, I really, really like the shape. And I think it's going to be pretty good for me. So I'm excited to get that one back in the rotation myself. Angel doesn't throw hers much anymore, but it's a good look for her. She just needs a little bit. She favors stronger covers, and so when she got her Eternity, she started using that more because the shapes are very similar. The Eternity just has a stronger cover, and so it blends the lane a little bit better. Oh boy, loaded question. Has the reactive gloss gotten any better since the beginning? A few locals are all in love with the blackout, including my PSO, who is pretty dang particular about what he throws. We think it's something different now because the last several balls have felt significantly different to the touch. And Storm has those new compounds, the rough edge and smooth edge. And we think that they kind of quietly switched to one of those instead of reactive gloss, and you'll be able to tell if you throw the ball. If you throw it out of the box and it gets slick, it's reactive gloss, and there's no fixing it, because what it is there's a slip agent in the formula, in the chemical formula, because what reactive gloss is a car and boat polish / glaze, which has a slip agent in it that's what makes the water, oil, whatever else bead up on the surface of stuff.
Reactive gloss?
Yeah. There's a slip agent in it, which is a protective measure for like paint and stuff. That's why they finish cars, boats, whatever else with it, so that it repels water, dirt, oil, whatever else. Why they would put that on a bowling ball that's designed to absorb oil, I'll never understand. But there's no fixing that. They either
The problem was not with the process; it was with the product. It was with the actual compound they were putting on it. Essentially.
Yeah. So if you get a ball and it says reactive gloss and it reacts fine, it's not reactive gloss.
Pretty much.
So, yes, and that's the other thing. There's a lot of and Tobias, actually, a friend of ours, has been throwing stuff out of the box here recently because he noticed himself. He works in a pro shop, and he noticed that they felt significantly different. And so he's like, "Yeah, I'll just go ahead and throw them and see how they go." And he's like, "Yeah, these last several, the blackout, the TNT infused, and the Journey, he hasn't had to do anything to them. They've been great out of the box."
Yeah,
So,
he was there throwing his infused and Journey yesterday. We were filming, and both looked pretty dang good.
Yeah. There's no problems with he wipes the ball off and it's nice and tacky. So, it's definitely not reactive gloss. Even though it says it's reactive gloss, it's definitely not that. So,
yeah. Give that a little bit.
and so if I want to polish a reactive gloss ball, what polish should I buy then? I definitely recommend resetting it. So take it all the way down to 1,000, 500, whatever else, just to get that stuff off of it. And then their new rough edge and smooth edge compounds have been, I've heard a lot of really good things about those. They're still not available for us to order.
Of course not.
So I haven't been able to get them yet. I could buy them from Buddy's Pro Shop or whatever else if I wanted to, but
I
I'm
was
not
going
going
to say they're available to the public, just not through
Yeah,
Stafford
I'm not
channels.
going to pay them to advertise their product. That's a little ridiculous, but I think everything I've heard is pretty good from those two so far. If you can find some Step 2, that would be awesome, but they're discontinued and most people can't. Brunswick's Crown Compound is the next best thing.
Which Crown Compound is what I've got on Widow Hybrid and my top speed.
Yeah, I am looking forward to trying those rough edge and smooth edge because I think that those are going to be pretty good. And we did look up the chemical makeups of those,
Yeah.
and they don't have that slip agent in
Yeah,
them that React Gloss does.
overall it's a very similar composition, but it's like they don't have the part that's actually like literally hydrophobic, which means liquid repelling essentially. That part of the overall compound is not there.
It's
and
not in there.
Part of why it's available is any compound like that they're using in a production factory by OSHA regulations. You have to have the safety data sheet available for that essentially says this is what's in this. If something goes wrong, here's what you need to be worried about, et cetera, et cetera. And so all that is publicly available, and that sourcing the actual SDS sheets or sourcing the actual safety data sheets. It's like ATM machine.
Yeah.
Sourcing the actual safety data sheet is how we figured out in the first place what was wrong with React Gloss and why it was behaving as it was. So, interesting little saga there. Loud noises for just a few more seconds.
The rough edge and smooth edge, it's basically what step 1, 2, and 3 were, but rough edge is between step 1 and step 2, and smooth edge is between step 2 and step 3. With those compounds that they had before, step 1 was a little chalky, and step 3 was a little too fine, so the vast majority of people used step 2 because it was the nice middle of the road, nice balance. But I think that having the 2 compounds versus the 3 and having them placed a little bit better, I think that that's going to be better than what they had before. Yep, Joe's talking about a new Phase 2 IQ Tour Solid and Blackout. The Blackout's ridiculous. I wish I could throw mine. I'm really kind of sad because if I would have it righty, I would be throwing it that and the exotic gem. I would be throwing.
If you're a bowling righty,
Constantly.
I still think your league bag would be infinite physics done.
Yeah, well, that too. But
Because the infinite was like when you were doing the little bit of righty testing, the infinite was the one where I saw you throw it and I'm like, oh, heck.
yeah,
If Luke's throwing that ball all year in Medlin righty, he's averaging 235.
yeah.
It was that good of a look for you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Got the fingers buzzed. Got the thumb all cleaned up. Now it's just glue.
You're not gonna stand over it. Can't spin. Come on, let's try. Spin.
Get in there. There we go.
He was a problem. Did you look at that?
Mini screwdriver. So what I do when I'm gluing vacuum grips is I actually don't put any glue up on like surface level of the ball at all. So this, I'm putting a dot at about 8 o'clock, dot about 4 o'clock. Yeah, a little more right there. There we go. And so that's going, there's a little seam in there where the bit size goes from large to small, and so I'm trying to go right above that seam on the front edge, and so I'll just kind of lean on that for a few seconds with my finger just to kind of make sure it seats in properly, and then I can just leave it to finish curing from there. Yep, that's about good. And then same process over here. And so then one thing, because the hole is a little bit looser in the top, and because I also have a 1/2 inch reverse pitch in my fingers, I think, Luke, is it common to glue the back of the fingers when you're using vacuums for pretty much everybody?
They do glue like the front and the back on the bottom. I just glue the front.
Okay.
I don't see any
So,
reason to.
I glue
a drop at the bottom and a drop at the on the top on the front. Now, glue in the back. It's just. Difficult.
So I actually do 2 drops kind of midway down at like 8 o'clock and 4 o'clock, and I glue the fronts.
Yeah.
And then I'll do a drop at 12 o'clock below the large to small seam, essentially. And so that just kind of, especially because I think you can kind of see, you can see how much my grips stick out. I don't like the feel of shaved grips unless I absolutely have to, aka I'm bowling USB-C Nationals.
Going to Nationals.
Because literally nobody else cares about that rule ever in anything in history. And so what I'll actually do instead is I'll put another little dab of glue down below that seam. Let's get a little more right there. There we go. That's good. And so then I'm going to use my screwdriver to kind of press down and back a little bit. And you can see that as I'm doing this, it's getting the top of the insert a little bit more flush without actually having to shave it with a razor blade or something. And so that's just kind of how I do all of my grips, and I'm kind of used to that feel. So get that, see it there. All good. Let's just make sure that was in fact properly seated on the front side. Yep, good there. And so now just the same process for the other finger. There's that. Got a teensy little dribble coming out of that whole glue. All good though. Wait, Storm. I think Miss still might. Nope, she's not. Doggos want to go outside, and Luke and Angel ran away. So, I'm here. So I'm just letting that cure for a few more seconds. Yep, I think we're good to go. Screwdriver clean. Glue up there. Don't need this pencil anymore. And voila. So there you have it. One completed track archetype. Layout is 5x4x2. And I haven't decided yet. I might actually take the surface up on this a little bit, because if I'm setting it up to be a high friction management ball, then I'm going to want not chalk on it. I'm assuming that's still the 1000 grit coming off of Luke's surface machine, so I'll probably just hit it with like a 4000 pad on my spinner at home and call it good, but I don't really feel like doing any other shop work right now. So that's good. This is the water rag. Let's use this to get my lines off. And voila. I put my thumbs away. Dang it. Yep. Yoink. Thumb fits perfectly. Everything's flush. We are all good. See if I'm missing any questions. How many extra 9-pins do you think you carry because your grips stick out an extra 1/8 of an inch? Actually, if I'm being honest, I think more pin carry comes from leaving the Made in Mexico label on Brunswick balls, but I take it off, so that's probably why I suck. So, mistakes were made. It happens though, but life goes on. So I've got this is what I've been working with a little bit. This is a vise like insert accessory pack type thing, and this is what I keep all my thumb supplies in. So I've got four Jopo sleeves cut, or 4 Jopo inners in here, along with my finger tape, all the tape that I put in my thumb holes. Still got some vise slugs in there as well, because I occasionally pull out a ball with them that I haven't converted over from time to time. Then that just goes back in my backpack. and just chills in there. So that's kind of an easy way to make sure I'm carrying all that around. Subbed again tonight. What's up, Jonathan? Subbed again, 677. Solid set. Nothing like remarkable, but solid work nevertheless. Especially if, I mean, heck, if that's a gauge, that might as well be an honor score in my opinion. So, and also looping back to this. This is the Marvel S that was on the Surface machine earlier. It's actually looking better even now than it was.
Yeah,
So,
that's significantly better.
like,
It's not as stained.
by the morning, I bet this looks perfectly fine.
Yeah. That
So
looks
it's
a
just,
whole lot better.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah. I think I don't really have anything else to do here.
Yeah,
I'm
no, I'm
good.
good. I need to.
Yes, Jonathan, this is James.
Yeah, since Jonathan's here,
hi.
I need to send his.
I'm James.
I need to send his ball cups to him.
Yeah.
that he's been waiting on for like 3 months now.
Yeah, Jonathan, I guess.
Buck.
Here, let me.
Buck.
Let's grab a few ball cups real quick, and I just want to do a quick lineup of what I did.
Buck.
Great.
Mike.
3 more, and I'm good. Thank you. Perfect.
Guess what day it is?
Guess what day it is? Mike. Okay, so I was working. I still have a line on this. Oops. That was smart. Also makes this ball illegal. All right, we're good.
Bam.
Yep. So that was a ball that Luke plugged. Here, I'll take this. So these front 4 right here are what I was working on tonight.
Punch.
We'll start with these 2. So this is the pin down Venom shock. I've had this for, oh gosh, over a year and a half now almost, I think. Nothing crazy on the layout, but I had a turbo slug in it. And so I used Jopo slugs, or Jopo interchangeables now. And so I just wanted to convert this over to a Jopo sleeve so I can use the same slugs and everything. Nothing crazy there. This is the plastic ball that I drilled probably about 2 months ago. I lost this sleeve popped out due to just operator error on the installation with this. And so got that whole slug. You can actually see barely just a little bit of plug kind of around the edge there. And so Luke drilled all that out, plugged it, and got a sleeve in and good to go. Did not have React gloss to put on this, so I had to settle for step 3 instead. But nice and shiny, should make my spares. Nothing to say there. This is the 3rd top speed that I have drilled. The other 2 were both pin above my bridge, and mass was in the thumb on the first one and outside of it on the second. This one I'm setting up for a little more of a friction control roll when I'm on dirt and like super high friction lanes. So like in the Kansas City area, I actually think this is going to be really good at Olathe, especially once I get a few more games on the cover. And then the last one, this is a archetype from Track. It's the big ASIM, but a little higher RG and a little more blendy in terms of overall shape. Went 5x4x2, so a little bit taller pin than most of my layouts. Keep the mass out of the thumb by a decent margin. And this is kind of, reminds me a little bit, I had a 3D offset, the pink one, that I had set up very similar to this and found was very helpful on friction control for early block situations. So thinking is this should help there. Yeah, the archetype actually looks sick in person. It's got a lot of, it's got a huge blob of white on the back, so it just looks absolutely, it looks hilarious going down the lane. It's just like blub, 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 blub.
Okay.
So,
All done?
okay, yep, all good.
Sweet.
Cool, there's battery pack.
Perfect.
Perfect timing. So
yeah,
Say bye.
yeah. Look for Journey reviews and TNT reviews and some other stuff. Bye, Buck. Within the next week, I'm gonna have a bunch of stuff coming out, and then I'll get the IQ78 at some point. So, yeah, we got a bunch of stuff done tonight. I plugged 5 balls. He drilled 4.
drilled 4, sleeve 2.
So yeah,
whatever
close enough.
however you want to call that.
But anyway, so yeah, hopefully I'll have the Journey review up in the next day or 2. That's the next thing coming. So thanks everybody for hanging out, and we'll see you next time.
May the strikes be with you.